Hello, everybody. My name is Honey Farmer, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Jean Piaget. Alright, so first, who is Jean Piaget? So first, he was a Swiss psychologist, and he was known for his work in child development. He was noted to say only education is capable of saving our societies from possible collapse. I found that quote very interesting because during my research, I did find that he did not originally believe that his child development theory really aligned with education, um, despite its influence on education. Alright, so what he was best known for was his cognitive development theory. So, first off, this starts at birth and and 12 and onward. So, first, it's a sensory motor stage, and we see that at birth to about 2 years old. And then after 2 years old, we get the pre-operational stage, which is 2 to 7. And I work with kindergartners, so this is the stage that I see the most with my kiddos that are 5 and 6. And then after 7 years old, you see concrete operational, which is 7 to 12. And then after, you see the formal operational stage, which is 12 and onward. Um, Alright, so the first stage I kind of want to discuss with you guys today is the sensory motor stage. So, like I said, this is from birth to 2 years old. Some of the changes that we can see during this time is that they see object permanence. So this is like when you're playing peekaboo with a baby, they still know you're there even though you're behind your hands. Or if they were to cover up a toy with like a blanket, they still know that it's there, that the object is permanent, it's still there. And then self-recognition, that's really just understanding that there's a difference between themselves and the environment. And then deferred imitation, and then representational play. This is all a part of the sensory motor stage. Alright, so the pre-operational stage. Again, this is the one that I see in day to day because I do work with 5 and 6 year olds. But this stage is from 2 to 7 years old, and some of the changes that you will see is the imitation. So the imitation at this point is more about the way we talk and then the way we move. And then we have symbolic play, which that's playing pretend. As you can see in this photo, this little girl has like a cape and she's playing with a cat, but she might be playing a superhero, she might be playing as a princess. We don't really know, but again, like that, playing pretend. And then we also see their drawing and their mental imagery. All right, concrete operational stage. So this is from 7 to 11 years old, and some of the changes you will see is the conservation and reversibility. An example I found when I was doing my research was water. As you can see in this little picture I have over here, that when you pour the first glass into the bigger glass, you could see that it's still the same amount of water, it's just a different shape. So when you think about that, like you could change size, the volume appears the same, but I mean, it's still the same amount of water, it appears differently. And that was one of the best examples I could find. And then also with like freezing water, and then obviously it returning back to its original state of water, like it's still the same, and they kind of start to understand that a little bit better. And then classification, that's just classifying the different objects by like shape and color. And then seriation, I found that one to be very interesting because it's talking about the height and weight and importance, like grouping by importance. I found that to be very interesting at this stage. All right, so the formal operational stage. This is 12 and over, and I don't really see this stage very much. Again, like I'm with the lower elementary kids, but some of the developmental changes is logic. So they can take abstract concepts. They start understanding abstract concepts and problem solving. They truly can start like analyzing their environment. Hypothetical deduction, that's like the what if questions, like what if this happens, or what if we do this and what if we do that. That's where you really start seeing like them being able to like really like being able to think about it and doing logical thinking with the abstract concepts. All right, so really, how did he change education? So he developed models that help design effective teaching strategies for the different stages. Using his theories, we can see that we need a child-centered classroom that are really truly focused on the experience of the student. So really, how would this look? So he said he believed that it should challenge a children's current knowledge. And then he also believed in child-centered classrooms. So this needs to match their cognitive ability. And then with education, should assess the readiness of each child with like formative assessments. And they also believed in building knowledge through experience, something like discovery learning or STEM projects, anything like that. And to continue to talk about how he changed education, so he focused on learning as an individual, as something individualized with their development, as I talked about the application in the last slide. So he believed that it should be individualized per the student and using and this is used in educational systems where students are assessed by their individual performances and just like their individual needs, and that's something I found really interesting. And he believed that our role as educators is to assist children with their learning and not to push them information, which I did think that was very interesting because the way we teach, or the way I've seen people teach, is very like, here's the information, now let's go do an activity. But I do believe that assisting them in their learning and letting them kind of figure it out would be a really cool idea to look at. And then Piaget, he did not directly believe that his theory was tied to education, but it has influenced educational policies. One of the things that I would think about when I think about Piaget focusing learning as individualized, I think of like, IEPs and EIPs and just special education, stuff like that. That's what I think about when I think of his theories as well when I was researching. Because, students with IEPs, like, they need a little bit more individualized than just the generic, like, here's the general education classroom and they could be successful. But honestly, that's what really stuck out to me when I was looking at him. So again, I'm in kindergarten, so how do I see Piaget's theory in kindergarten? One, using their senses to explore objects and sensations. Again, like, the hands-on learning, and just like having a stimulating environment for them. And then allowing them again to explore their surroundings, and really, again, with the hands-on learning, just being able to explore. And then 3 is having them experience new situations. Challenge can disequilibrium, and which can expand their knowledge. He believed in building on prior knowledge and really just anything with that. Just again, building their knowledge, letting them explore any activities like that. Like, he truly believed in that. So some different examples in kindergarten. Hands-on practice. So one of our standards is for students to be able to know 3D shapes. And one of the activities that I get to do with my kids is I do Play-Doh, and then I say, all right, can anybody make me a cube? And then they have to be able to make me a cube. And again, this is like hands-on practice. This is allowing them to do that with Play-Doh. And this is also like kind of like, oh, well, did they know what a cube looks like? Do they know what a sphere looks like? And again, like, this is one of my favorite activities I get to do with my kiddos every year. And then another example of using their senses. So something I really enjoy is allowing them to have a little bit of fun in the classroom. One of the things that I like to do is in October we do a unit on pumpkins, and I take one of those boxes that you can see on the left and I let them explore it without being able to see it, and then they have to kind of guess what it is. And I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the elephant. A bunch of people were blind or they were blindfolded, I don't remember exactly, but they had to feel the elephant and like kind of describe what they were doing. Like somebody was feeling the tail, saying it feels hairy and rough. Somebody was feeling its side and they're like, oh, it's scaly, and then they were talking about the trunk and then the ears. And that's just I really like getting to see what they say when we're doing this. And again, that is using their senses to explore their surroundings and explore different objects. And then one of the last examples I want to use is STEM activities. So as you can see on the left, like you see the pennies and the aluminum foil. This is during our during November, where we talk about like the pilgrims coming over from New England and everything. And when I'm doing this project, I truly like it because they get to design their own boat. And the pennies are the pilgrims, and they have to kind of see how many pilgrims they can have on their boat before it sinks. And honestly, my kids love this. They all giggle and laugh, and something I really do enjoy. And then this one on the other side, this is a nest. So this is more around Easter, and they're supposed to build a nest that can hold all their chicks. And this is something they really enjoy, and it's, again, like, they're kindergartners. They completely have fun with this, and it's a good time. They do enjoy getting to make it, and I truly enjoy these STEM activities. And then another example is the nature walks. So we talk about changing of seasons, and one thing I like to do is allow them to get leaves, like especially during the fall, and just kind of let them explore. And then we kind of talk about like, oh, well, why does this one look different? Or why is this one different colors? And then they just kind of get to explore and kind of talk about that. And it's really fun. And then another time we do take a nature walk is around spring, when everything starts to really bloom. And then they kind of just get to talk about like, oh, well, like, what's different? Like, what, and they come up with some really interesting answers. And honestly, I love nature walks. It's very fun. And it gets the kids out of the classroom and, gives them a little something to look forward to. And then I like having a discussion. So my last little thing for you guys is, what are ways that you use Piaget in your classroom? I'm really interested to see what you say. Thank you guys for listening.